Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. And not gonna lie, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I grew up with Harry Potter, reading the books, watching the movies, just huge fan. And these Fantastic Beasts films have shaken my excitement for new films from Wizarding World because it doesn't know what it wants to do. Are these about Fantastic Beasts? Or this about Dumbledore and Grindelwald? And this becomes even more clear that they feel like they're trying to force some Fantastic Beasts into the plot because we're at the point where it's just like we're 3 films in and it's just like it better have some Fantastic Beasts. That's the name of it, right? And they do in this particular third outing have one particular creature that is essential to the plot. And that thing is adorable. And this film, I feel like I have to rewatch the first one again because I feel like this might be my favorite, or at least tied with the first one. Definitely not Crimes of Grindelwald. But there's a lot of excitement in it. There's a lot of fun with it as well. And I do enjoy the action. And there's some set pieces where it's just like they feel like this 2 hours and 22-minute film. They could have easily trimmed down some things in this movie because there's just too much going on, too many subplots, too many threads, too many characters that they don't invest enough time in, and then you throw in creatures because like they feel like they have to at this point, even though it's like that's the namesake of the series. And they kind of feel like this, if this would have been trimmed down, could have saved like 15 minutes on this movie. But the beasts are cool, they're interesting, they have some cool ideas. Some of the creatures that Newt has get to shine a little bit. I do appreciate that, like, the whole crux of this film is like Grindelwald can see parts of the future and you're like, well, nobody's going to know the full plan. And that helps the narrative for the audience because it keeps you on your toes. And I think overall, it does a fine job with it. Now, in terms of like the actual story, I'm glad they're actually like fully acknowledging like Dumbledore and Grindelwald were definitely lovers, and now they can't, like, they're worlds apart from each other. And Grindelwald's plot is actually this is definitely written in the time that we live in, because there's definitely a lot of undertones to recent presidential elections in America that's like really feeding into this story, and you're just like, interesting, because it winds up being an election for the leading of the Wizarding World that becomes the main crux of this film, and that's the main focus. And everybody else is serving that point, except then you have over here Credence, Ezra Miller, who has gotten themselves into some trouble lately, so they're kind of just like hanging over here. And I feel like the revelations about Credence's character feels really like an afterthought in this movie and solved really easily. Like, there's one confrontation like halfway through the movie and it's like, bam, there you go, not evil anymore, right? And you're just like, okay. It just feels like it's trying to close up to so many threads at once, and it opens up new ones. Like, they introduce a new character related to the Lestrange family, and then it's like, are they going to turn on Dumbledore? Like, they do add a new professor into this movie who is played by Jessica Williams, Lally, who I really enjoy. Like, that's the thing. I enjoy the actors in this movie. The characters don't get a whole lot to do. And basically they're really riding on very basic traits of everybody except Jacob Kowalski, because Dan Fogler is amazing in these movies, and Dumbledore, because Jude Law is amazing in these movies. And you feel like you get more depth to them. Newt is extremely underwritten as a lead protagonist, but like Eddie Redmayne is so quirky and it's just like you enjoy him. And it's just, there's so many things in this movie that they could have really streamlined this. And it's not to say that like movies can't have complex stories with a lot of threads and a lot of characters. If you're going to do that, you should probably flesh them out and actually make them feel like they're meaningful in some way, because this film doesn't necessarily do that. There's exciting action sequences. I do really appreciate that about this film. There's some great action in it. Mads Mikkelsen is deliciously just eating things up on screen in this film, but it's still, he's just evil. And you're just like, okay, thank you, genocidal wizard Hitler. And that's basically it. It's just like, no, muggles are disgusting. We need to be pure blood. And that's basically it. So there's just a lot of underwritten elements about these films. This one still feels really underwritten. But the ride, the mystery, the thrills make up for that in some shape or form. And there's a few really standout performances. And in the end, this has some really sweet moments. It feels like it could be done. But it gives you just enough if they wanted to bring you back. And we'll have to see how it does at the box office, because that's what it sounds like in terms of whether we're going to get more of these or not. But in the end, I think this film is probably the best and most enjoyable of the films, but still really convoluted, underwritten, and still feels like it's in a big shadow of the Harry Potter series. But those are my thoughts on Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.